What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is the new album from the band Infinite Defilement, entitled Destroyer of All Things. This is released on Rotten Music. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of New South Wales, Australia, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very apocalyptic, traditional style of brutal death metal. Yeah. This is a one-man project formed by a guy by the name of Jacob Smith. He is pretty much the sole proprietor behind this project. He does the vocals, writes the music, writes the lyrics, plays the music, does the programming. Pretty much a well-oiled one-man machine here. And he's put out quite a good deal of solid work throughout the years. Most notably a debut album that came out in 2009 entitled Destroying Humanity. Very gritty, very traditional sort of stuff, very reminiscent of early stuff from the late 2000s to even prior to that. I mean, if you think of stuff like maybe Blood Soaked or early Viral Load, you could tell that this was a project that it had some sort of that got influence from said projects. But ever since that one release, he had been on somewhat of a hiatus of sorts. And that hiatus stopped when he started getting back into the swing of things in 2013. And then in 2014 released a really solid EP called Disemboweling the Divine. Pretty much no sense of rust shown. He still knew how to make some good riffs and create some catchy death metal. Now we have a very proper sophomoric effort from this project entitled Destroyer of All Things. It's 10 tracks and it clocks in at around 32 minutes in length. And pretty much, if you're familiar with what this project has put out, I think you'll find something to enjoy with this new album. It is a very simple and traditional sort of brutal death metal style. It doesn't try to recreate or reinvent things. It just comes in, delivers what it sets out to do, and is just brutal death metal for the fun of it. And I think there's a lot of fun to be had listening to a release like this. If anything catches my ear about this release, it's the music. I think the guitar work here is pretty much the main highlight and factor of this entire release, and that's what will keep the listener occupied throughout the 32 minutes of this album's length. The riffs are really catchy, very strong-willed sort of riff work being done here. I mean, you hear it on tracks like Awakening of the Beast, Remnants of What Was, and then later to the title track and songs like The Red Giant Phase. Just some very well-proportioned, very well-played guitar work. I love the riffs. I love the way the tone sounds. It truly feels like you're listening to a brutal death metal record with ties and vibes to albums past. It really has a good sense going on here with the way the guitar riffs are being handled here. And that's, like I said, that's the main story of this album, is the guitar work. I think the guitar work is extremely catchy, and it does hold your attention all the way throughout. There's a drum machine being used here, and if I'm being honest, there are some instances where I think the drum machine works out quite well. There are other instances where I feel the drum machine could be better, but the songs that really do hold your attention all the way throughout, and they keep a very good balance for every single riff and every single piece of songwriting that's accomplished here. I think the drum machine does its job quite well here, even though I do prefer certain songs better than others. But like I said, the main story of this album is the guitar riffs. I really love the way that these riffs are played. They're very well written, and it's catchy stuff. And moving on to the vocals, I love the vocal delivery here. It's a very guttural, hoarse, raspy sort of delivery. Very well worded, very well understood sort of vocal delivery. This guy has a really good personality when it comes to his vocal delivery, especially when it comes to the lyrical content of this record, of course. As you can tell by the name of it, and if you can tell by the way things are structured and planned out, it's pretty much an end-of-the-world sort of concept. And I think he does some tremendous work here with on both the vocal and the lyrical fronts. And it's pretty telling to hear a country song towards the very end of this record. That's sort of a symbolic ending to an album like this, a concept about the apocalypse and the end of the world, and you hear a very somber, very happy-go-lucky sort of country song near the end. I really don't... It's not on the tip of my tongue who's actually singing that song, but I'm pretty sure I have some more well-versed folks on here who know a thing or two about country. But I think it's pretty hilarious that was included, and pretty much a well-fitted conclusion to this record. So, overall, if you're a fan of traditional brutal death metal, if you're into meat and potatoes sort of death metal, a band like Infinite Defilement will be right up your alley. I think this is a very solid release. It's something very much worthy of being listened to over and over again. If anything, for the catchy riffs, great vocals, and songwriting, that's what makes this album stand out to me the most. So, if I had to pick any favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Into the Abyss, Remnants of What Was, and if I'm not mistaken, Roger from the band Infected Flesh does some guest vocals on that track. The title track, The Red Giant Phase, and Black Moon Desire. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you a link in the description box to Infinite Defilement's Bandcamp page, to this album, where you can listen to it in its entirety, hear it for yourself, and be your own judge as to whether you think it's worthy of being purchased or not. You can buy it digitally, and it is also available physically directly through the band. You can see I believe it's... if you get it through North American distros, it'll most likely be in a jewel case. If you're getting it internationally, you'll probably just get the CD and the booklet and the inserts. You might have to get your own jewel case for this one in case you want to save on shipping and whatever. So, let me show you the album again. This is The Destroyer of All Things by Infinite Defilement. This is released on Rotten Music. Definitely check this out. And for a score, I'm feeling a very strong 7.5 to an 8 out of 10 for this one. Very solid release, worthy of repeated listens, so support Infinite Defilement. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel, and until the next time, Army Hell out.